Now we're going to look at who would win an All-Ireland hurling title if it was in the winter. Now I asked Tommy Walsh when I interviewed him on our game.ie last week, and I'm just going to put up a little clip to see what he had to say about it.
Yeah, it's hard to know the teams at the moment. They're what way they are. It would definitely suit the bigger, more physical teams, and maybe the more direct, the guys that would play that ball that bit more direct. If you try and play a short game in the depths of winter, when the ball is that bit heavier, the ground is that bit heavier, the conditions are bad, playing the short game, especially in hurling, like the skill level has to be so high to perfect it, it's next near impossible. So I would say a team that plays the ball more direct and a more physical team would, like, it probably suit Tipperary as well in the winter, and the fact that their players, are starting to get that bit older. To be a short, kind of more condensed championship, and their players, you look at Callanan and Noel McGrath, Paddy Maher, very strong physical team, in fairness to them. So Tipperary, like the small ball playing teams now, would probably be that bit more difficult.
So that was Tommy Walsh's thoughts, and if you want to see more from him, you can find it on our game.ie. Lads, Winter All-Ireland, Michael Verney, what do you think? Tommy's looking at the likes of Tipperary. I think Limerick, really big physical team, and the thing that really impressed me during the league, when the weather was particularly bad, is that Limerick were still playing summer hurling in the middle of winter, and by that I mean they were playing the short stick passes inside their own half, trusting that the ball would go to each other's hands, making it stick. So I think from that point of view, I'd be definitely putting Limerick right up there near the top of the contenders.
Yeah, me and you were both down in the Gaelic ground, Shane, earlier on this year. It seems like an eternity going out at this stage. But the conditions were poor. It was very, very heavy, and they were still making this summer game. They were making it flow in the middle of the winter. It was amazing, really. It just shows how much they practice it, and that would just suggest that sort of it would be better during summer, but it would still be unbelievably effective in winter. So Limerick would definitely have to up there. Immediately when you ask the question, who would I think will win a Winter All Ireland? I think who will not win a Winter All Ireland, and Cork is the one that jumps out miles away. I just, they haven't delivered anything in the winter for a long, long time. Any sort of consistency throughout the league. It's almost, I don't know, is it ingrained in the psyche now that they want the hard ground and the fast ball, and they just seem to get totally bogged down in the winter. So I would nearly put an X through Cork if it was played in the winter. And that's, like, unless every game has been played in Croke Park or every game has been played in Thurles, and maybe it will be, but it's going to be different conditions. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be a slog, and I just don't think it suits their style of play at all.
What do you think, Cahir? I mean, if we look at the last number of years and even the club teams that have been successful during the winter time, now I'm not suggesting that Derry's hurling team is all of a sudden going to win in All-Ireland, but you've players from the likes of Schlock Neal. These guys seem to excel. Now, they'd probably excel every month of the year, but guys like that have done well. Even a couple of years ago, Kilcormac Callahy from Offaly, they did particularly well in the winter time. Our Coola team did pretty well because there's a lot of physical guys on that. So there would be an element of you have to be physically be able for it, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening in tight confines.
It'd be a physical thing would be huge. Like when you asked me when you sent a message earlier about it, the first team that came in my head was Galway, because so much of what they did was predicated on how physical they were over that spell of time. They obviously, Limerick have come along and matched that, really, and you're right. You think about, even though they won the Ireland, I always think about what they did in the league afterwards. They looked so good in the National League after they won the All Ireland, and you're just thinking, you nearly thought that this new superpower had come along and who was going to beat them. They looked, for a spell of about 8-10 months, they looked almost unbeatable, and then the All Ireland semi-final happened, but. Obviously this year's league, they'd been flying again, and as you say, like, that is, you're basically looking at National League form. What is there, 6 different winners in the last 6 years in the National League? Is that right? So there's no definitive form book in terms of winter form to go on. And it depends what you want. Like, if you want somebody to get into a scrap, Kilkenny. Jesus, no team loves digging down as much as Kilkenny. So
they want a dogfight, don't they?
Sorry?
They nearly want a dogfight.
Oh, totally. Like, and it has suited them, especially in the last couple of years, where, and maybe it's harsh on them, but probably fair enough to say that the quality wouldn't just be of the standard that it was when they were repeatedly winning All Irelands. You know, they're still there and they're thereabouts, but they're having to really dog their way to wherever they're going at times. Whereas, you know, don't get me wrong, the teams that won could dog too, but they had probably a bit more class up front. And, you know, but that Limerick semi-final is the prime example. That was just pure dog. You know, that was as good a display of work rate and intensity and all the rest of those things that, you know, have become cliched words, like, but it was just brilliant to watch them that day. You know, just completely outfight Limerick. It was class.
And within that too, you know, and we're talking about Kilkenny there. Ballyhale Shamrocks have won the last 2 All-Ireland club titles, and a lot of what's going to be good about Kilkenny is coming from Ballyhale. So from that point of view, Michael Verney, do you kind of give Kilkenny the nudge over, let's say, the likes of Wexford, who actually have some very physical players, good ball carriers, and there's, you know, like, have had a good league?
Yeah, I probably would give Kilkenny the nudge. As well as that, like, you're looking at in league games, if TJ Reid is playing and you're looking at just there's going to be more frees and things like that, you're going to have a 99% score rate from him. I know you're going to have a high percentage score rate from a lot of them, but his ability to win frees, Adrian Mullen obviously won't be around, so he won't be there to win frees, but there's plenty of other forwards there that TJ Reid, you could conceivably see him ending up with 115 or 116 in a championship game played over the winter easily. And then as well, yeah, you mentioned about those Ballyhale lads. They've all thrived. Fair enough, they've thrived in Croke Park on All Ireland final day, but they've also thrived up the country and down the country in, you know, bogs at times and very, very soft ground as well. So definitely, and as Carter says, like when it comes to that, you know, that work rate and that kind of effort, and, you know, and a team just expending everything, it's hard to kind of look past the effort that they will bring. Now, it kind of levels the playing field a small bit. It kind of, if you're looking at it, you're looking at class and you're looking at work rate. I'm not saying that class is more important than work rate, but the class comes down a small bit in the winter, and just work rate and effort and kind of the sheer kind of will kind of comes up a small bit. So they definitely come into the equation. But Limerick would be the favourites for me, because I think they're a team for every season, as last year's league and this year's league has shown.
I'm going to sort of to speed through a few of these teams. We're going to go thumbs up or thumbs down from the two of you lads and put them in front of your faces. Waterford, thumbs up or thumbs down of having a chance of competing? Clare. Cork. Tipperary. Okay, I'm trying to think Limerick. Okay, then we're going to go into Leinster. So Laois. I think unfortunately they're not going to really win it in any season. Kilkenny. Wexford. Galway. And Dublin. I think the winter actually would suit Dublin. But so the thing is, it's not necessarily that I'm saying that all of those teams that I give the thumbs up to could win the All-Ireland. It's just I think it would actually suit them. But so we're dismissing Cork anyway. It seems to be the recurring theme here. Is there anything else we haven't said on this, Michael Verney? Any other team you want to vouch for or slate?
No, it's funny, even like it's almost like you're trying to wait in the long grass, even though they're All Ireland champions. You barely talked about Tipperary, the reigning All Ireland champions. They were mentioned very little in this discussion. It's almost like you think there's going to be a winter All Ireland, and you're trying to be cute and coy. And once again, you're doing PR for Liam Sheedy, just like you did last year.
This is absolute lies. Tommy Walsh already blew up Tipperary for us. You know, there's not much more to be said. But it is an interesting thing. The fact that some of those players have, 10 or 12 years of conditioning behind them, the likes of Noel McGrath, Seamus Callanan, Bonner Maher, assuming he comes back right. Brendan Maher's obviously and had the campaign with Boris Salit just gone. Yeah, I think Tipperary would be in the conversation. I think some of the concerns about Tip's backline at times, when it's slower weather, you probably do get that extra second to get back, don't you, to be fair? If the likes of a Cathal Barrett was missing, you're probably short a little bit of pace back there. Maybe, yeah. It probably... Are we still looking at a Tipperary, Limerick, Kilkenny sort of we probably are, more or less, aren't we? It's probably... Does the weather really... Does it end up being a determinant factor, or does the cream come to the top anyway?
I think the cream will still come to the top, but it could be a determining factor in a game along the way or something like that, or there could be a particular set of circumstances. It's interesting here. Connor David, one of our viewers on YouTube, says Cork and Clare would not win a Winter All-Ireland. He's the same kind of idea as me anyway with Cork. He said outside bet would be Wexford, and he said you can never write off Kilkenny. You surely can't, yeah.